Hello everybody. Okay, so I thought I'd just show you what the pattern is that I'm doing. Here is the image of the pattern, and up there it tells you the amount of pages within the book, it tells you the height of the book, and it tells you what kind of pattern that this is. So the shadow fold it's like a shadow upon the book. It looks like a shadow. Now I've done portrait books before. They've always been shadow. I haven't tried doing them as other cut and folds yet, because I think, especially with this one, I asked my friend which method she preferred, and she said she preferred shadow. So that's what we're going with. That way she has a picture of her dad in her home as well as at work for herself. So I thought I'd give you a little video of how it is that I actually make, how it is that I turn patterns like this, with their lots and lots of numbers and looks very complicated and everything, and turn it into something like this. Now this one here is called a cut and fold. This one, there's two methods with cut and fold. You can have a cut and fold like this, where it's standing out 3D. Or if any of you, and I've also added a bit of pink there, because with the House of Marriott, one of their writing is pink, and I thought it would just look a bit nicer. And I like I love using the Sharpies as well, which are here, my brand new Sharpies, love them. So yes, you can have ones that stand out like this. There is the other method as well. Now if you've been on my Cakes and Crafts site, or you've been on the Craft and Create Etsy page, you'll see that there is the London fold. The London fold is an inverted cut and fold. So instead of folding, let me just show you this. Instead of folding the tabs here, this is the first tab, you don't fold this tab. You fold the ones that are actually sticking out instead. But this is one way of doing it. And with the other one, obviously the shadow fold, which is going to be what this one is, it will literally just be a shadow upon the page. So, what do I use? I always have these with me whenever I'm book folding. My pencil, my ruler, which is here, my rubber, my scissors, and this little beauty here is called a bone folder. Now you can get a pack of 5 of these in Wilko's, in their art section, their stationery section. It's really good, and these are really useful to have. I also like to have my little sharpener and my little pot here, which literally contains all rubbish from my art desk. Very useful to have. I always usually keep my books over here, just so I know where they all are, and that's just my little tub of nothingness basically in there. I always have hair clips around as well on my desk, as you can see here, mainly because my fringe always gets in my way, and it always means that I end up having to clip back the fringe so it doesn't get in my way and annoy me. So what I've done with this one, now with this pattern here, you've got rows and rows of numbers, and you're looking at it thinking, oh my goodness, where the hell do I start? So, going back to the book, here it is. Now this is a Reader's Digest book. Now it's very important with any book that you always, before you even start, before you even look at the pattern, you need to do the image within either Photoshop. I mean, with the photo books that I do, I have to use a form of Photoshop. I don't use Photoshop itself because I can't get on with it. I use Coral Paint Shop because I find it so much easier to use. And if you're not good with things like Photoshop, Coral Paint Shop is the one to go to. Because I just got frustrated with Photoshop and ended up just saying screw it. So anyway, it's very easy to convert photos into what's needed for the pattern software. So you convert it in the Photoshop, Coral Paint Shop, whatever's good for you. I then put it into my drawing app that I have on my laptop. I then convert that, I put it into my pattern software, it comes out with a pattern. Now, it took me a couple of tries to get the right book to make sure that this was going to fit. It wasn't going to be stretched. It wasn't going to be too squashed, because if it's either squashed or if it's too stretched, it's just not going to look right at all. And also another thing is, when you've got writing, like here, This has always got to be, I feel, and I'm sure you do as well, that it always must be, the writing must always be seen so that it's looks professional, so it looks right. So with any book, when you're doing the software, it will always ask you for the amount of pages within the book. Let me show you. Oh, out of focus there, come on. It always asks you the number of pages, it will always ask you the height of the book, and it will always ask you what type of pattern you want to do. So you have your pattern. You then take your ruler, always have your book to the side of you, like this, so the spine is facing you. As you can see, one spine. So you lift the book up, obviously, and always start the first page, because even though the book is marked with numbers, you also include the pages at the front, like these ones, which aren't marked. The contents pages, you know, the books that have the little prologues and everything, and then you'll see, but then it goes on to 9. But you just count backwards, but you count in odds. So 9, 7, 5, 3, 1. Oh, what's this page here? This first one. Leave that for a second. So you've got to page 1. So you come to the back of the book. Now, as you can see, oh, and this comes out again. You've got 501, 3, 5, 7 and 9. 7 and 9. Oh, and then you've got 11, which is this page here. And oh, again, we haven't got a marked page. This would be page 13, because obviously this is number 511. So this would be number 13. Because obviously, with this one being number 11, because you've got 510 there, 511, 512, 513. But we still have that one page at the front, which hasn't got a place. So then this page would then become 515. So that is why you have 515 pages. So, you start at the beginning. You put your ruler on 0, like so, and you mark down the page. Keeps coming out of focus, I do apologise. So, when you've marked down the page, always make sure it's on 0. So yes, you've marked down the page, you have your 2 lines. So, these, then you cut these, and you have a tab. Just the one tab, and you fold this tab back. Always use a bone folder. You get a lot more crisper. You get a lot crisper with the actual folds themselves. So then you have a little hole. That's all you need to do. Then you go to the next page, and you miss this page because it's very important to miss this page for this kind of pattern. You then go to the next one, and again you have marked down your page. It's always good to mark through the book first. You have marked down your page. You then cut those lines. So let's cut those lines now. Move the... Oh. Right, so... Oh, I forgot how to do this. Aha. Okay, so you now currently have these here. So you cut your lines. Obviously some of these are a bit dodgy because they're very close together, but that is fine. So you have now cut your lines. As you can see, or should we stop going out of focus? That is driving me nuts. Come on, get it together. So, yes, you have your lines. Again, put your book to your, the front of your book is facing your chest. And again, this time, again, grab the first tab with your bone folder, just the one. That's it, and then fold it over. Making sure that you push that down like so. You then have another tab here. Now this tab here, which you've created by cutting all these lines, you leave that tab down. You move on to the tab after it, which is this tiny little tab. And this tiny little tab, there we go. Now I like to use the bone folder figure at this because it is such a tiny little tab. You move this little tab up here, and again you just squash it down. So with this one, you obviously, this would be a big tab. This would be a tab here because obviously it's been cut. These lines have been cut. This will automatically become a tab, but you leave this one out. This is the second tab, and you cut this one, you tab it, you push it back. This would be your next tab here. You leave this tab. This one here, again, you use this one, you push this one down. Wish it would stop going out of focus. And you leave this tab here. So if you want an inverted pattern, you always push down the even tabs. If you want an 3D design, like the House of Marriott here, you always push down the odd tabs. So 1, 3, 5, so on and so forth. So, in, for an inverted pattern, even numbers. 3D pattern, odd numbers. Easy as that to remember. Now, again, with a normal pattern, which was not a shadow, so if this wasn't a shadow cut and fold, oh my goodness, if this wasn't a shadow cut and fold, I do apologise that this keeps going in and out. If this wasn't a shadow cut and fold, the skip page, which is the page after you've done these tabs, which is this one here. Now, sometimes with your tabs, they do get squashed, so you have to be very careful when you're putting it down. This is the skip page. This is the page that you skip. Now, usually this page here would be what's called an inverted page. Now, if it was a pattern like the House of Marriott, like the London one, you would actually fold the page just a tad, so it caused, like, you would squash it down like this, so the pattern would either stay in or out. But because it's a shadow, you just leave it like this. You just leave it flat. Just skip the page. And you just keep doing it that way. That is all you need to do. Cut the tabs, push the tab forward. Remember, this tab, this one would only have 3 tabs. You'd have the big one here. This would be the second tab. This would be the third tab. Let's try again. That would be the first tab. That would be the second tab. That would be the third tab. So you only squash down the second one because it's an even number, and also because you want an inverted pattern. And remember, after that, to skip that page, so skip page 9, go on to page 11, do the same again, and just keep going through the book until you have this image within your book. Now, the good thing about these books as well is when you are working, you can sometimes, I don't know if you can see this, you can sometimes see the pattern sort of emerging anyway, just as you're working. But it's a very simple process. The mark and folds are a hell of a lot simpler, because with the mark and folds, they are simply on this page, for instance, they're one mark here, or there's just 2 marks on the page that you're working on, and then it is simply a case of folding down to that mark, and that is as simple as it is. But we will do one of those at some point as well. But that is how I'm doing the cut and fold. And it's a very interesting process. It's something I love doing. I've gotten quicker over time, and this should be done by tomorrow night. But thank you all for joining me, and I hope you all have a brilliant night.